Quick demo of jobpreps.com's interview tool. This lets you practice interviewing with AI for any job that you want, generic or specific as you want. So if you just want to practice for a generic job, this could be marketing, business, it doesn't matter. You just put the title you want to go for there. If you want to get more specific with it, you can actually copy and paste a full job posting description and throw it into here, and it'll pretend to interview you for that specific posting. I grabbed one from LinkedIn, just a random software engineer one, and it's for a mid-level position. You can change the difficulty level of the interview. This can get very challenging if you want it to. For now, we'll stick with just challenging. And you can change the personality as well. If you really want to challenge yourself, you can go with a hostile interviewer. For now, we're going to stick with a technical focused one and do a technical interview. Some other parameters you can change is you can give it your resume if you want, and then you can also give it custom instructions. So if you want to focus on specific things during an interview, you can tell it to do so right there.
Hi, Brandon. Let's get started. We'll jump right into some technical questions. Can you describe the differences between lists and tuples in Python? And when would you choose to use one over the other?
Sure, lists are mutable and tuples are immutable.
Okay, that's a good start. Can you elaborate on what being mutable or immutable
So
means in this context and how that affects their usage?
I've muted myself here just to go over a few key details. So it'll give you interview feedback throughout the interview. This can be a critique or a compliment. Obviously, this was a critique telling me that I need to go more into detail on the questions. Um, there are other features to this as well. So the AI actually has access to this editor here, so it can directly paste text into there if you want to work through problems or if it wants to give you something to read. You can do that. You can also change it for coding interviews to whatever language you're coding in. Um, and then you can also, show it what you've written in here as well by hitting the Show to AI button. You also have access to a whiteboard uh, where you can just draw out things or work if you need to. What was the question again?
I asked you to elaborate on what being mutable or immutable means in the context of lists and tuples, and how that affects when you would choose to use one over the other.
Sure, a tuple is immutable, and so its size does not change. For a list, its size can change.
That's correct. Tuples have a fixed size once created, while lists can grow or shrink. Can you provide a practical example of when you would prefer to use a tuple over a list and why?
So this interview will go on, but we're going to go ahead and put it into review mode. Review mode is where you can, it'll give you a rating on how you did in the interview, and then you can ask it questions about, where you can improve or maybe why it gave you a certain score. Cool. Why did you give me a 6 out of 10 on problem solving?
I assessed your problem solving skills as a 6 out of 10 because while you arrived at the correct answers, you needed some prompting and didn't immediately provide the most detailed explanations or practical examples. For instance, when asked about the use cases of tuples versus lists, you initially gave a very basic explanation of mutability but needed further
How
questioning
would you have answered that question?
to illustrate the practical differences between lists and tuples. I would have explained that tuples are often used to represent records, such as database rows, or structured data where the position of each element matters and should not change. Lists, on the other hand, are ideal for collections of items that may need to be modified. For example, a list of items to process, where items might be added or removed as the process evolves.
Great. We'll end the interview there. Over here, it gave you the ratings along with sometimes a justification for why it gave you those ratings, and then all our interviews are stored back here, where you can go and review um, you can go and see the recap of the interview along with the feedback it gave you and the ratings it gave you as well, including their justifications for doing so. Here you can also filter down to interviews. So maybe you want to look at how you did on very challenging interviews. And filtering down here will update the stats up here, as well as up here. So, maybe we want to see just how we did on software engineering positions. Pretty poorly. And so this can also be used for our next tool, which is the coaching tool. This is available for premium members. There are a few ways to use this. You can tell it to use the interview history, so it'll go through these filtered interviews that you have here, and it'll analyze the feedback and ratings from those, and then it'll come up with a coaching plan on what you need to work on from that. You can also do a coaching session based on a job description. So if you want to practice for a specific job posting, you can copy and paste that posting in here, and it'll tailor the coaching session specifically for skills listed on that job posting that are important. Or you can do a combination of the two. If you click both, it'll look at your feedback in previous interviews, as well as the job posting, and come up with the things that you need to work on. If you do neither of these, then you can just go in and generate your own settings for the coach. And this is really a tool for you to just do deep dives on different topics, and it'll actually work with you and teach you about those topics. So based on that job posting, it gave the primary topic as Python development and some subtopics to cover here. Then it set these teaching settings. Let's see, you can tell it kind of the personality to have, and then the teaching format. So we're going to go with interactive here. And then it just gives more information, specific challenges, gives prior experience of your experience so that the AI coach knows how to handle this coaching session.
Hi there. It's good to see you. How are you doing today?
Doing well.
Great to hear that. Are you ready to jump into some Python development topics today?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, sounds good. Since you have a solid background in Python, let's focus on some intermediate level topics. How do you feel about discussing building data pipelines?
I actually don't have any experience with that. Can you go into detail?
Of course. Data pipelines involve moving and transforming data from one system to another. They often include steps like data extraction, cleaning, transformation, and loading. Does that sound like something you'd like to explore further?
Yeah, let's do it.
Excellent. Data pipelines can be implemented using several Python libraries, such as Apache Airflow, Luigi, or even simple scripts with libraries like Pandas. Which would you prefer we start with?
Pandas.
Okay, Pandas is a great place to start. It's a powerful library for data manipulation. Have you used it extensively before?
No, let's actually go into detail on good design practices for pipelines.
Understood. Good design practices are crucial for maintainable pipelines. Let's discuss some key principles. Do you want to start with modularity, error handling, or something else?
You decide.
All right, let's start with modularity. Modularity refers to breaking down your pipeline into smaller, independent, reusable components. Would you like an example of how to implement this with Pandas?
Okay, and that's all.